Hello everyone, welcome to Prestige Castle Farm. My name is Innocent. Today I'll be discussing important things to know and consider before setting up a rabbit farm. The first thing you need to consider is in fact, this is a tip I give to most people who ask me, okay, I want to go into rabbit farming. What do I need to know? What do I need to do? I said, first thing you need to do is go to other rabbit farmers around you, go down there, go to their farm, ask some questions, visit their farm, look at what they are doing. The second thing you need to do is to get a mentor, because when you get a mentor who already own a farm, who have gotten years of experience in this rabbit farming business, such person will be able to guide you. So the next thing you need to consider is, what is your aim of going into the rabbit farming? Is it for personal consumption? Are you looking into setting up a rabbit farm for just personal consumption? Are you looking into going into rabbit farm for mini commercial purpose or for commercial purpose? Really, because that will determine what you need to do. So the next thing you need to consider, so let's take for example that you want to start rabbit farm for just personal consumption. Then you may just need just few rabbits, and it is okay in that stage to do a colony system. That is just to do a free range system where you just get few rabbits and you allow them to roam free, because that is for personal consumption, right? But if you're doing a rabbit farm for commercial purpose, and for commercial purpose I mean you want to raise rabbit farm either for meat purpose or for breeding stock for other farmers, then you need to do certain things. You need to do certain things right, and you need to consider certain things. So the first thing you need to consider is your breeding stock. You see, your breeding stock is integral to the growth of your farm. If you get a bad breeding stock, and by bad breeding stock I mean rabbits that do not grow very well, rabbits that do not, produce quality litters, and that do not take care of their bunnies well, rabbits that is not prone to disease or that do not have history of certain kind of diseases. So those are a rabbit that possesses these characteristics, then that is not a good breeding stock. But a good breeding stock is rabbit that grows very well, that have very good resistance towards disease, rabbit that takes care of their bunnies, and that generally are healthy. So how do you get a good breeding stock? Meet reputable farmers. You could search out for reputable farmers, because the good thing with these reputable farmers is that they have a track record of the rabbit, so they can tell you, okay, this rabbit is an hybrid rabbit, or this rabbit. Of course, I'll do a video on pure rabbit, a pure breed rabbit, an hybrid, and a local breed. I will do a video on that. But the idea is you need a rabbit that grows really, really fast, and that, at least attain good amount of weight within a short period of time. And a good farmer would have the track record of the rabbit, and he would tell you, okay, this particular rabbit we would have 2 kg, for example, within 3 months. This rabbit, this is the mother, it litters, this is the history of the mother litters, let's say, for example, 8. They all survive, the bunnies all survive. So it's important to get your rabbit, the rabbit you're starting your farm with, it's important to get that from a reputable farmer. The next thing is you need to consider what kind of system you want to go into. Do you want to use the free range system, or do you want to go into the cage system? I am not a fan of the free range system, though it has some advantages, but it also has some disadvantages as well. I am a huge fan of the cage system, and the reason why I'm a huge fan of the cage system is, number one, you can, for disease control, you can easily control the disease. You can easily economize space. and you can also easily take care of the bunnies when they litter. That they've littered there. It's just for easy management. So you need to consider what kind of system do you want to use. Do you want to use the free range, or do you want to use the cage system? So if you want to use the cage system, you need to consider what is the cost. So that takes us to your budget, because if you have in mind that, okay, I want to do this in a commercial purpose or a mini commercial purpose, you need to get your budget right, because trust you me, rabbits are prolific animals. They can litter very quick and fast, and before you know what is happening, you have a lot of rabbit. And if you have a lot of rabbits, you can easily run out of space easily. So you need to have that in mind to say, okay, I want to start with, let's say, for example, 10 does. What is the system I want to use? Okay, I want to breed 5 each month. Okay, if I breed 5 each month, how many should I be expecting? So you need to get your management right. You need to get your cost right. The number of rabbits you want to start with, how many rooms of cage would be enough for them. So you don't want to start with too many rabbits and you only provide maybe just one cage or a 12 room, and then you are starting with, let's say, for example, 10 doe units, and then you're starting with just 12 room. You can see you can easily run out of space. So you need to get your budget right, get your cost right. If you're doing a commercial purpose, do your proper cost analysis. Okay, the number of cage you would need, and how many doe units you want to start your farm with. The other thing you need to consider is, what do you intend to feed your rabbit with? Okay, so do you want to, and that is linked to the area you are. So if you are in, let's say, for example, you are in a very, an already developed urban area where there is no access to forages, then you need to say, okay, should you concentrate on giving your rabbit formulated feed, or do you want to feed your rabbit with poultry feed? You need to take all of that into account. Personally, what has worked out in fact, where our farm is heading towards is that we want to give our rabbit at least 50% hails. And that is why we started planting the alfalfa in our farm, the alfalfa leaf, which are currently doing very well, but we've not yet harvested. But at the time being, we're using formulated feed, and occasionally we use grasses. So you need to also take into account, if you're going to use formulated feed, or if you're going to use concentrate, you need to take into account the cost of that. If you want to do it in a commercial base, you need to get your cost analysis right. Okay, how many kg of feed would your rabbit eat? So you need to take all of that into account. So you get your cage right, and what type of cage system do you want to use? Here we both have the wooden cage system. We also have the galvanized cage system as well. And each of these have its own cost. Each of them have its own cost. So you need to consider what cage system do you want to use. The next thing that you need to also consider, which is very, very important before setting up your rabbit farm, is marketing. And I think that is even the first thing that you need to consider. Marketing, especially if you are a beginner and you want to go into, if you want to do rabbit in a commercial basis, you need to say, okay, what is the end user or what is your goal of starting up the rabbit farm? Is it for meat purpose? Is it to raise breeding stock for other rabbit farmers? These are the two major purposes why people go into rabbit farming. So you need to say, okay, you want to do both. Okay, if you want to do both, I think a lot of people leave marketing at the end of, they raise the rabbit and then they start looking for market. And then if you go on Facebook, you see people complaining, but I don't have market. I have rabbit, but I don't have where to sell. In fact, currently, if you know what you are doing, like we do, I can tell you that your demand would even outweigh your supply. Marketing will not be a problem for you in your farm. But you need to put in the effort. You need to, if you've not watched my videos on how to market your rabbit, please scroll down in on our videos. You will see one of those videos where we talk about how you can market your rabbit. But while considering going into rabbit farming, take marketing serious. Consider, okay, and what is your strategy? I prefer, my recommendation to young farmers, to beginners farmers that is going into rabbit farming is, listen, raise a rabbit that you can easily sell, and then you scale up from there. So don't start too big, except if you're going on a commercial base and you already have a partnership with off-takers that can come and take your rabbit off whenever they are due. But if you're just a beginner who do not have any market resources or market contact, then it's advisable to start small and then scale up, right? So these are the important things that you need to consider as well. So you also need to know that, for example, setting up these cages are not cheap. In fact, that would take a bulk of your capital. So you need to know that they are not cheap. For example, currently the cost, I'm going to make a video on the cost analysis between the wooden cage and the galvanized cage. But you should know that, if you are in Nigeria, for example, where the cost of wood and this galvanized rod and stuff, the prices have gone up. So that also, previously, a cage like this is a 15 unit cage here, would cost you previously around 80,000, 100,000. But now, if you want to do this cage now, it's going to cost you between 150 to 200,000, which means a unit is going to cost you nothing less than 10,000. But this is something that should have been less, and this is wooden cage. And with the galvanized cage like that, it's even more. It's actually current cost should be around 15,000 per unit room, So this, you need to consider all of this, right? You need to consider all of this. So, but rabbit farming is very lucrative. It's very lucrative. It's something that one is highly encouraged to go into. So these are the things that you need to consider before starting your rabbit farm. And when you start your rabbit farm, you need to consider there are 3 other important things that you need to avoid. Number 1 is inbreeding. So you make sure that when you start your rabbit farm, that when you sourcing your rabbit, in fact, I highly recommend that you do not source your rabbit from one farmer when you're starting up your farm. Because sometimes when you go to farmers and you say, okay, listen, I want to get a rabbit, some farmers are not honest. Sometimes they want to sell their stock and they might give you a doe and a buck from the same parent, and they will sell it to you and they will tell you, they are from different parents, whereas they are from the same parent. And then you starting your farm on the wrong note, because already you already going into the issue of inbreeding. Inbreeding literally is when you cross a sister and a brother, that's a doe and a buck from the same parent, crossing them together. The danger of that is that some of the recessive genes that are not good, that may be recessive for a purpose, may become dormant. So it may be eating disease in the bloodline of that particular rabbit. As a result of crossing the siblings together, those genes, those characteristics may come up. So I'm not a huge fan of inbreeding. Some argue that it doesn't matter, but to me, I've seen that it matters. So you need to. So my recommendation is, when you're starting your rabbit farm, do not get all your stock from one rabbit farmer. Instead, you can get a doe. You can get your doe from one rabbit farmer, and then you can get the buck from another rabbit farmer. That helps in avoiding issues with inbreeding. And also, you also need to consider when you're crossing your rabbit, you take the doe to the buck when you are crossing your rabbit. So you don't take the buck to the doe when you are crossing, because when you do that, it could lead to fighting, and if the doe is a very aggressive doe, it could castrate the buck. But when you take the doe to the buck, usually you often get you usually get a receptive action, from the doe, because the doe is coming into the territory of the buck, and it would generally submit to the buck. Of course, there are exceptions. So these are the things to consider before setting up your rabbit farm, and I hope they are useful. Please do wait to like and subscribe to this channel. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.